Every year, the union budget decides how much we pay in taxes, how businesses grow, and how the economy moves forward. As India prepares for the Union Budget 2026, expectations are running high, from income tax relief for individuals to policy clarity for industries and startups. Today, we break down what Budget 2026 could mean for people, businesses, and the economy, with insights from one of India's leading tax experts. Joining us is SR Patnaik, Head of Tax Practice at Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas. Thank you so much, Mr. Patnaik, for joining us on such a short notice. We are discussing today the key budget expectations. So, to start with, sir, how would you describe the economic backdrop going into Budget 2026? What are the key pressures and priorities before the government right now?
So thank you, Tanvi, for having me. I think today, as you would see, there is a lot of uncertainty in the market, primarily because of the growth issues that Indian enterprises are facing right now from their business perspective, and also the uncertainty, global uncertainty that is created because of the U.S. tariffs and the all the other FTAs that are under negotiation or being negotiated. So there is a lot of uncertainty that's there, but also I think at the same time, even the rest of the world are not really getting their house in order, and therefore there is quite a bit of volatility in the marketplace. So therefore I think what is currently expected from the Indian finance minister is to provide some amount of stability and some clear goal roadmap for the Indian industry to take the Indian economy forward.
Right. There's also sir, a strong hope for income tax relief, although we have seen in the previous budget that there was a wider tax slabs, but still people are expecting for higher exemptions and increased standard deductions. So from a realistic point of view, what kind of relief, if any, we can expect from the upcoming budget?
So I think Tanvi, the issue with regard to getting extra benefits and concessions in every budget is a legitimate demand of the taxpayer, and it is always to keep pace with the developments that are happening for the taxpayer as well as for the economy as a large. So I think irrespective of whatever was offered to the taxpayers last year, there is always a legitimate expectation on a going forward basis that there should be something more for the taxpayer, and this becomes like a perennial problem as well as expectation from the taxpayer side, and also a kind of fine balance between giving tax concessions as well as ensuring that our fiscal deficit is kept in check, and that is the balancing act that the finance minister will have to do.
So going forward, from a corporate tax perspective, what are the top expectations from the upcoming budget, especially around certainty, dispute resolution, and long-term stability?
Yes, I think that's been the primary demand from most taxpayers, including foreign investors as well as foreign multinational entities, because what is happening is you have got a lot of clarity with regard to how you need to deal with specific matters. But unfortunately, what is happening is, there is a lot of, review, revisits by even by the judiciary to decided cases, and suddenly what you thought was settled is now coming back and to haunt you, right? So that kind of unpredictability and uncertainty is very, very damaging from a long term perspective uh, of India as a country in terms of ease of doing business. So that is something I believe the finance minister needs to spend more time on. So I think this should be the top priority as far as the finance minister is concerned. That we need to have a specific regime, and we need to define our laws in a very, very clear and precise manner.
Sir, since you have talked about ease of doing business, Next up is our startups and new age companies. They often raise this concern around ESOP taxation and capital gains. So, do you see scope for reforms here that could help India remain competitive in attracting talent and investment, because we need it right now?
So absolutely, Tanvi. I think this is the we need to first figure out what are our kind of key low hanging fruits, which we should uh, you know adapt, and we should try to encourage them so that they become the next unicorns of the century. And for that, I think we have to focus on new age economy, and the primary reason for that is while we tend to boast about being one of the youngest countries in the world, being having the largest workforce in the world, but at the same time, unless and until we provide them a good way forward, that's going to become our bane as well, right? Today what we are calling as boon can become our bane tomorrow. And therefore it is important that we kind of highlight certain specific industries and try to provide them as much encouragement, as much incentives as possible, because they are going to create the new a new employment opportunity, and then become the new go-to market kind of a strategy. And for that, it's very critical and important that that their wealth is also well spread. And the best way to spread wealth would be through ESOP taxation. Now, ESOPs have been there, and the government is trying to simplify it, but unfortunately, so far that's not yet. I mean, not much has been done. So one of the options could be: can we try and ensure that we probably because there is also a demand from the foreign portfolio and foreign portfolio investors, that we should again start giving incentive for long term capital gains, no tax for long term capital gains. So uh, probably that is something that the finance minister should look at. Along with that, if we can try to delay the ESOP taxation to the last point, right? So for example, even if you buy the shares today, you are not liable to pay tax till such time you are actually selling the shares. Because at the time of sale, the the concerned employee or the founder is going to get money, and he may not mind paying taxes. But if you're asking him to pay tax right now, what happens is, depending on the structure that the company has, you might end up paying tax in respect of today's value. And that creates a lot of uncertainty, because you would never know that whether this value is going to last long or not. And I think exemption from long term is one larger corporate demand, larger FPI demand, larger investor demand, that the finance minister can look at once again.
Right. And so finally, how do you see the balance between fiscal discipline and growth-oriented spending playing out this year?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? So that's almost every finance minister, every finance professional always tries to balance it out. It is going to be a very very difficult task, but at the same time, I think the position which the government had taken last year, through simplification of the direct tax, through rationalization of GST. I think that is something that is and the reference that was made by both by the revenue secretary as well as by the finance minister immediately after those rationalizations, was that look, we are banking on Indian population to consume more, and consume the more consumption would lead to higher amount of growth. And therefore the tax reduction is not actually a tax cost that the government is bearing. It is actually going to further enhance the amount of tax collection. So I think that is a very positive growth mindset. And I would expect the finance minister and the finance ministry to uh, proceed further along those lines, and try to always see that the more incentives that you provide, the more uh, you know um benefits that you provide to the taxpayers as well as the businesses, that is going to actually give you further growth rather than reducing your fiscal numbers. And I hope the finance minister follows the same pattern and provides more and more incentives so that people get even more connected to the government, and they also play their own part in terms of achieving the country's growth prospects.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Patnaik. That was really valuable insights from your side, and it was a very wholesome conversation. It kind of sums up our expectations from the upcoming budget, and all eyes are now on 1st of February. So we hope for the best. But thank you so much for giving your time today to Outlook Business.